Hi, Zizaran here with a build guide for the upcoming gauntlet. So this is going to be a build guide for those that specifically want to hit level 90 or 95 and you want it to be the absolute safest and strongest you could possibly get for doing so. Especially safe early through the campaign, which is going to be incredibly hard. Now, in the background, you can see me fighting Hillock, and it is basically running around him in a circle. And this might seem like a joke, but for most gauntlets, I've ended up doing a full how to kill Hillock guide for the gauntlet. It is in fact this difficult. So if you see on the left, you can see that there's the gauntlet mods, and these are incredibly dangerous. This is through the entirety of the campaign, and once you get through the campaign, you will get to the oasis that is white maps, where it's a lot easier. So those mods are not in addition to the campaign, they are just the only mods there. So this is where you're expected to gear up, and a lot of people will be going from 90 or 290 or 95 there to be able to get through the raffle. So this is going to be a Righteous Fire Chieftain. Now, some of the features of this is that you get very easy resist and you get very easy 90 max stress. So these are very, very strong things for being super, super tanky. Now, this is not an actual good build for competing. You are not going to be killing crazy bosses, but hopefully you're the type of player that you're thinking, I wasn't going to do that anyway. Then this is the build for you. If you're unfamiliar with Path of Building, maybe the gauntlet's not for you, but we do have a video that goes over Path of Building and how it works. And as our normal videos, we do have a step-by-step system showing you exactly what you're taking early on, etc., all the way up to the end. And yeah, even pretty early, you can see that we are getting 87 max stress with early game gear. So that is with no uniques at all. And this is why the Chieftain is super nice. And you can see that we do have Ascendancy then too. So we're getting the Tsasalio Cleaning Water early, which gives modifiers to fire res, also apply to cold and lightning at 50%. So if you're getting 100 fire resist, you're getting 50 cold and lightning. You're also unaffected by ignite. And then the Cruel Lab is that you're getting Romako for more damage. Then we have Merc Lab is getting the max fire res. And the Uber Lab is getting Hinakora Death Fury. For the early choice of the new ascendancies, Warlock is a really, really great choice, specifically because of Blood Hunt. And a lot of people will be thinking about taking the Magi ascendancy for the free resistances and stuff, but it's actually very easy to resist cap in the gauntlet anyway, because the gauntlet doesn't have a resist penalty, it just has straight up penetration. Blood Hunt, however, is incredibly good for doing a lot of bosses, because when, for example, you're about to do Weaver, if you have Blood Hunt and you use the Revenue skill on a spider, you're getting a damage boost towards spiders and a damage reduction from spiders, which is a lot more important than having even more resists, even though you're already capped. So you are going to be over leveling so much in the gauntlet as well. I generally recommend as much as 8 or 12 levels above the zone you're in, and you really want to do that early because you will die repeatedly if you don't. As a reference, there was somebody that leveled to level 33 or level 35 before killing Weaver, because that was his dream, was to kill Weaver in the gauntlet, and he did it. But there have been people that have been getting all the way to that level and been getting one shot in easier gauntlets. This is the hardest gauntlet of all time. If we're looking at skills, it's very easy to follow. It is a very basic Righteous Fire setup. You're using Fire Trap for single target damage as well. And we do have a step-by-step group up here. So you have Rolling Magma, etc. early, which is nice because you don't want to stand next to anything and you want to be able to try to off-screen things. One of the hardest things is going to be getting through mudflats. So just farming early zones and, you know, being really careful in mudflats. And farming the submerged area isn't too bad. You do want to have a logout macro ready because you can get overwhelmed. But grinding a lot early, very, very important. And then pretty straightforward to follow everything else as our normal guides. So check that out, and hopefully you like all the skills and stuff. And you do get the nice on-kill explosion from Chieftain eventually. But that is from Uberlab. There's not a huge reason to do Uberlab. Uberlab is going to be very dangerous because it is the same as a yellow map, 75. So Izaro is going to have 2 extra projectiles and 60% haste. Now, item-wise, we've gone from being very, very easy to gear. It's just life and resistances. Obviously, like fire res is really nice because it gives you everything. So it's basically half all res. So it should be very easy to get fire and chaos res as well. And then damage over time, multiplier, fire damage is really, really big. If you're able to unveil the fire damage and chance to ignite, that is a pretty powerful craft. You don't need the chance to ignite so much. It's just about the, it's a high fire damage. And then flasks, you want armor, curse reduction, reduced effect of shock, reduced effect of chill would be really good. You're going full defenses. Now, there's not much in the notes here. Obviously, the gauntlet is more complicated than normal, so we are expecting that there's not going to be that many new players in the gauntlet, but there are some tips here. And honestly, you really need to overlevel. I cannot drive home that point enough. Even me, who am very experienced and I've actually full cleared a gauntlet, I overlevel with roughly 8, maybe sometimes up to 10 levels above the zone. And that's because you really don't want to die in the campaign, especially on this one. It's worse than ever before. So even as much as 10 levels above is not a bad idea, even if you're an experienced player. If you're feeling confident while leveling and you want to make ruby rings to cap your fire resist super early on, and you can take this mastery, regen 1 life per uncapped fire res. So obviously you want a lot of it to be able to get a lot of regen. This is really nice in general, but this will let you run Righteous Fire very early in the build. Now, you don't have to do this. You can just like use other things. Yeah, basically when you're feeling comfortable, you can do that. Or you could just be really chunky with a lot of regen and still use like magma or fire trap, whatever you feel like. On this character, you do need to mule with a Templar. If you don't know what that means that you have to make a Templar character, kill Hillock, and go into town. You get Ellie Prolif as the support team on the beach, and you can buy Rolling Magma with the Templar, but you cannot buy that on a Marauder. So you will need to do that. Now, it is not a bad idea to go kill Hailrake on this so that you have a second Quicksilver. Not so much because you want to go fast, more so that you want to be able to flee from monsters faster. So have fun with that. In the endgame tree as well, you do have like Cloak of Flame is really nice for physical damage being taken as elemental. Really, really great. And a Rise of the Phoenix is not a bad idea as well. And Immortal Flesh. Generally, there are other uniques as well, but I'm expecting that you will not be doing bosses. So obviously, Maven boots and things are always good for RF, but probably not going to be doing Maven. Other than that, I hope you guys have an absolute blast in the gauntlet. This build should take you very far. I do recommend leveling to 95 in white maps. Yellow maps are incredibly hard. However, this build should be able to handle yellow maps, but you would have to be very careful about how you're rolling them. So I think a lot of people will be going all the way to 95 in white maps. They are very safe and it should be absolutely doable. You do need to get through the campaign. Honestly, even if you did something crazy like 15 levels above the zone you're in and just really took your time, that is not the worst idea because dying and having to do it again will take you a long time. With that said, again, I hope you have a blast in the gauntlet. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for playing. And more importantly, try to die less than I do.
Steelmate almost fucking killed me.
Oh man, I'm not washed.
He fucking cheated.
I knew it.